Good morning, and thank you for joining us this morning for our City Council work session. We'll go ahead and get started. Shawnee, would you please call the roll?
Cheatham. Lurick.
Here.
Mangum.
Here.
Mansfield. Nichols.
Here.
Paulson.
Here.
Ladd.
Here. Thank you. We'll go ahead and get started. We'll move to agenda item number 2 is Pocatello Regional Airport Commission. Representatives from the Pocatello Regional Airport Commission will be present to discuss the commission's goals and projects, as well as council's policies and expectations.
Can join here.
Well, good morning, Mayor and members of the City Council. My name is Alan Evans. I'm the Airport Director at Pocatello Regional Airport. And with me today, I have Molly Baceris, who is our Airport Commission Chair. And she's going to share a few things with you, and then when she's done, I'll share a few things that I've got as well. So I'll turn some time over to Molly.
Great. Well, thank you for having us here today. We appreciate your service and your support, especially Councilman Cheatham. He attends most of our meetings, except for right now. I don't understand.
Wonder what he's doing.
We really appreciate him and everything that he gives to our meetings to support us and provide guidance for us. We have had several reappointments recently of existing commission members. And we really appreciate their willingness to serve. We never have to go and beg the public. It looks like there's always a list of candidates who want to join us, so we appreciate that. The main responsibilities that we have are to help develop and guide the airport in providing the citizen feedback to Alan and his team. Our main focus recently that we've been working on is reviewing and establishing the rental rates that we have for the structures on the non-aviation side and that property. So we've been working on those for quite some time. It seems like it's just an ongoing process. We recently received an appraisal from a non-aviation property side, which we just discussed this week in a commission meeting, and we are bringing in some other parts and pieces to educate us so that we can make our best attempt to make a recommendation to you. We'll continue to review those proposed leases and different developments as they come in, and again, provide recommendations to you as we go. We also, as the commission, assist with service development. We help the community and are a voice in the community about what is going on at the airport. Recently, the commission reviewed and provided feedback and input on a digital marketing campaign, and that started in 2024, I want to say around September-ish. We had several presentations and helped with guidance to Alan and Christy in regards to that. It went very, very well. We had we've had some good success off of that marketing campaign. A lot of feedback in the community. We all see it on different platforms like our social medias and stuff. So we've really noticed that that's made a difference. We as the commission also support the airport in its valuable assets to the community. We provided over, $184 million in annual economic impact and created over 1,050 jobs necessary for growth and development in the region. Those are just some numbers that Christy provided me to supply to you today. All in all, Alan and his team, we think, do an amazing job. We look forward to our meetings every month and find value in being able to give our feedback to that commission. So thank you.
Super. Thank you, Molly. Any questions for Molly? Yes, Councilmember Nichols.
When you're calculating your lease rates, are you doing that based on the value of the property and then a percentage of that on an annual basis? Or how are you, what method are you using?
So I'll be absolutely honest with you. You want me to answer this?
Sure, that's fine.
We're working on that. It's a work in progress. It's a really interesting situation because the property out there, I should probably divert to you. You go. I'm gonna let Alan answer
To
that.
answer your question, that is correct. We do get a percentage of it. The FAA requires us to get between 6 and 8% of what the market or what that property value is. And so our biggest obstacle is we're struggling to figure out exactly what is a good number on that property. We've had an appraisal in the past, and it was drastically higher than what a previous appraisal was, as I think you're aware. Of course, land prices shot through the roof. And so we went back to the FAA and said, look, if we use these numbers, we're going to have some trouble. We're going to have trouble bringing up our current tenants. It's going to be huge increases in their rental rates, and we'll lose them, quite honestly, if we use that number.
And I think it's valuable for you to know, we did take that appraisal seriously,
Oh, yeah.
and we did a CPI increase, which is requested, like I think recommended. We have
Right.
to do
Yeah, we
that.
take CPI.
Plus 10% on those properties every year for the last 2-3 years.
3 years.
So we've been increasing that as high as we can without, overcharging people, having to have them vacate their businesses.
Yeah.
So,
We've worked on this for years and years, and Alan was right. You get an appraisal and it's very low, you get another one that's extremely high. And the issue is the airport is kind of in a spot where there's no comparables. And so you compare it to another airport that's by a city or that has all the infrastructure in it, then it's a different rate. And there's just, they're having a hard time. I mean, anybody that's doing any of the evaluations and the appraisals are just, they're struggling and finding, okay, what is that line that you can get to? And I think the FAA agreed, the one was just extremely high and the other one was just extremely low.
Yeah, the
So-
previous one was, so.
And
Did you
so,
average?
Yeah.
and one of the other things is we're talking about the non-aviation side. The aviation side is
Right.
easier to compare. There's more apples to apples in the industry, but the non-aviation side is what we struggle with.
it's tough.
So the FAA has say over the non-aviation side?
They do, yeah, because we take
give
federal
money.
grant monies, we are required to try to be as self-sustaining as possible. And so we can't just give away a piece of property for $1 a year.
Right. But you're getting it worked out with them?
Yeah,
The
oh,
FAA?
yeah. No, we're in good standing with the FAA. They understand where we're at. We're just, we've got a lot of work ahead of us, and we will come with something that will be good, but it's going to take us a little while to
Perfect,
sort
thank
through
you.
this.
Okay, Alan.
Sure. So just to share with you a few other things that are going on at the airport. We had an update in our master plan, which I think you all were familiar with, and that has been completed. And we're moving forward with some of the things that were included in that. One of those items will be the taxi lane development for a new hangar area. That's where the old Circle Track Speedway was. We've run out of property for hangars to be built on with what we had. They're all occupied right now or under lease. And so we're moving forward with that. And that was one of the things that this master plan pointed out where a good development should go. And so we're working on that. In 2024, our projects included apron pavement maintenance along the entire ramp. We remarked our primary runway 321. And we did some reconstruction of a portion of the northeast ramp where the BLM tanker base works. I don't know that you're real familiar, but we did a lot of work in that area for BLM, did a lot of work in that area to put a new loading pad. And unfortunately, we found that some of that ramp wasn't as structurally sound after that work had been done, and we realized where they were going to need to taxi. We weren't real comfortable, so we spent some money and we went ahead and upgraded that ramp. Got that back up to full strength so that we don't have issue with these big, large firefighting aircraft. So that was a project that was completed this last year. We're also, we just recently received a new piece of snow removal equipment. It's a de-icing trailer that's with a 1-ton truck. And we've been sometime getting that. As you know, vehicles have been very difficult to get in the past, and we were right in that time frame where we didn't know if we could get it in a year or a year and a half. But both of those pieces are here. We are now still working on the loader. That was also in that same package, and we've had a little trouble with the Buy American portion of that contract, with the suppliers being able to meet that. So we're moving forward with that. We think that there's something in the works where they can meet that, and we can go ahead and receive that piece of equipment as well.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes.
I just wanted to ask a question about the ramp that you said you brought up to speed kind of thing. Does BLM or any other entity contribute any funds to that, or?
So they don't, because it's not exclusively their ramp.
Okay.
Up in the area that they leased where they put their loading pads, they do have a lease on that portion of the ramp.
Okay.
And they put those improvements in with their dollars. But we've got a lot of area out there, as you're familiar with.
Right.
And so those aircraft to roll out and get on the taxiway, there's a section in there that was not a real big section, but there was a section there that's out of their lease, in our control.
Okay.
And available to anybody to use, so.
Okay,
it's all
just
in this
curious.
area. Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah. Some of the projects that we're looking at this year, there's going to be some pavement maintenance project once again on our secondary runway and our primary taxiway. That will be some crack sealing and some crack sealing and seal coat and repainting of those. The FAA wants us to keep these pavements in great shape. They spend a lot of money through grants to get us where we need to be. And so fortunately, we're doing these sorts of seal coat projects and crack sealing and things like that more frequently than we ever have in the past. They always encouraged us to do it, but we've never really had the money on our own to spend on some of this. And so this is all federal money that will be helping us get these completed, of course, with our match money. But good projects to keep the infrastructure where it needs to be moving forward for a number of years. I talked a little bit about the loader. We do have 4 new hangars that have been completed on the field, and they are for sale. So if anybody knows of anyone looking for a hangar, please send them our way. We'll get them in touch with the people who have built those and are looking to move those. Just a real quick update, we've talked about the new FAA tower that they're going to build at the airports in the past. That project is still moving forward. I got notice last week that what they had done is they took 3 of the very first towers and lumped them into a single bid package. It was Ogden, Utah, Pocatello, and El Monte, California. Well, I think what happened is I think they found out that we were really easy. We have a great location. We don't have any conflicts. Ours was simple. Ogden's, I think, was pretty decent, but I think El Monte, California ran them through the weed whacker. I don't know what they ran into down there. So what they're telling us is that they have decided to pull those all back as separate projects rather than bidding them as a 3 at a time in this new deal, which is good. I think that's good for us. So what they're telling me is we will have a contract probably issued for our tower in the summer of 25, and they expect to start construction in the spring of 26. So it's a little later than I think what they had originally thought, but that is moving forward. And the beauty of that is we do not have any money from the airport in this project at all. We're providing a location for this tower, but other than that, it is all on the FAA. And it will be a very good improvement for Southeast Idaho, but especially for Pocatello. So I guess the last thing I'd like to mention as far as land development, and we've talked a little bit about what we're working on in rental rates, but we do work closely with Bannock Development on economic development opportunities and trying to get those at the airfield business park there. And so we continue to do that. We've got a great relationship with Mia Kate, and we're included in the things that they're looking at, and we're happy to help where we can and try to get some more businesses to look and locate at the airport. So it's one of our priorities as well. Other than that, that's what I have. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to
Questions,
answer anything
council?
else.
All I can say is, Molly, thank you very much for your service and for working with the Airport Commission. It's really nice to have good people that are willing to do that, so thank you.
Thank you.
We have-
I only have a year left.
That's it. We have
Guys
great
have to get
people
rid
on
of
our
me.
commission. We're
Are
really
you
happy.
counting down? I mean, I'm thanking you here. You're like, oh, I've
I
got one
got-
more year of my sentence,
I'm
and
like,
then we're out.
we-
You not
Yeah.
up again?
I can't. I'm done. Unfortunately, we gotta find somebody else. Thank
Well,
you.
thank you.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you, Alan.
You betcha.
We'll move to agenda item number 3 is Pocatello Development PDA update. Representatives from the Pocatello Development Authority PDA will be present to discuss the PDA's goals and projects, as well as council's policies and expectations.
Hello, Mayor, Council. My name is Brent McLean. I'm the Executive Director of the Pocatello Development Authority. David, unfortunately, wasn't able to make it today, and so I'm filling in for him to provide this update to you. So we have currently 4 districts in urban renewal districts in the city of Pocatello. And I'll give you a quick rundown of some of the things we're working on in this past year. So currently, the Naval Ordnance site, the NOP, that district is in process of going through a closure. And they're looking at reopening a new district in the area. But I think the improvements that have been made in that district are pretty evident to the community as you look at the facades of those buildings. And as we move forward with IRG, they're looking to do some more upgrades and improvements not only to the site, but also to the surrounding area that impacts that site as well, which would be very beneficial for the city. Also, the North Portneuf District, which is on the north side of Craft Road, where the old Hoku site was. Some of the things we're doing there right now is we are engaged with Keller and Associates to do a design of a rail overpass that would connect the site to Highway 30 and to provide direct traffic linkage to that site, especially for the high demand trucks that go through down Craft Road and out onto Main Street. If they can have that direct access to Highway 30, it would be huge for that whole development and that whole area. It's one of the things that's really held back the development of that property is the secondary access, and this would provide a huge ability for easy and direct access for especially trucks. Great Western Malting and Savage are over there as well, which would be very beneficial to them. So we're in a design phase with that. The other thing that is happening there is they are, Portneuf Development, who owns the property, is working to remove a lot of the remaining concrete structures that are out on the site. And they've gone through and broken up a lot of that concrete already and are hauling it off and recycling that concrete. And so that's an ongoing project over this past year that they've been working on. They're also intending to provide some power upgrades and lay some power lines for pad sites to prep it for development. And so we're encouraged by the things happening out in that district. We also have the airport district. And as you heard from Alan, there's a lot of great things happening out at the airport. And we are anticipating an announcement from Bannock Development on the 27th of this month of some pretty exciting things that will be happening out at the airport. And then our 4th district is the Northgate district. And we have a couple of new plats that have happened out in that area. So that land division is critical to provide the groundwork for development to happen. And so we have a commercial plat that was approved. It's 11 commercial lots that range from 1 to 3 acres. And then also there was a plat The Northgate Villas was a 30 lot plat for higher density residential development in that area. So the residential component is a key to the success of that area. There's a lot of businesses that have purchased land out there that are anticipating developing, but they're waiting for more of the residential units to come into the area before they pull the trigger in developing their commercial development. So that continued expanse of the residential is key. And then we also have been working with a consultant to look at a new district in the South Fifth area. And that district is essentially from the Century High School area up to about Barton Street. And so it would cover that South Fifth corridor. And we're in a feasibility stage with them, looking at the potentials of what that would look like, and coordinating that with some of the grants that the city has received to essentially take what the community change grant is starting to, and then hopefully we can look at finishing out a lot of those upgrades that we need to do, utility upgrades, road and path upgrades that would need to happen out in that area to really help it to develop and thrive. And so we're in process of working with a consultant to finish that. We also did complete some eligibility studies of the downtown and the 4th, 5th corridors. And we're kind of on pause in those areas right now. I think we have enough that we're working on, and really want to focus on that South 5th corridor at this point because of the momentum that we already have in that area. And that's a key to these districts is because they do have a very finite time that we have to get work done in, and so we don't want to pull the trigger on a district until we're ready to have some real investment into an area. So I don't know if you guys have any questions for me. I'd be happy to answer any questions you might
Sounds like
have.
we've got Councilmember Nichols.
On the potential South Fifth District and the infrastructure improvements, will those correspond with or be included in the area that we just annexed?
Yes, it corresponds directly with the areas that we just annexed. And so we would hope to provide some of those services to those areas and allow those areas to become developable that maybe wouldn't otherwise or would have some hindrance to that development.
Right, got it, thank you.
Any other Councilmember
You had
Mangum?
mentioned possibly working with a consultant. Are you working with the consultant now for that
Yes.
project or in the future?
No, we have one already engaged that we've been working with, and we hope to have that feasibility study here in the next couple months.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Other questions? Brent, I might just add a couple things. The Naval Ordnance Plant District closing, great work for the PDA. It's exactly the way it should work. It's closing early, and it's 100% exactly how TIF districts should work. We're looking at opening a new one, also a very good idea. We reset the base, and that's what we would like to do. Get that base reset, open another one. It's a brilliant plan, and the PDA does a great job with that. So thank you for that. And then the North Portneuf District, the bridge, the overpass, is there dates on that? We're working with Keller now. Is there an anticipated completion date?
Yeah, we've got about a year out that we're anticipating to have a 30% design that we can then submit to the railroad. We do not have funds secured to actually do the construction of that at this point, but this is a key component to being able to go out for grant funding or get other investors to buy on to this project. Like I said, Great Western and Savage would hugely benefit from it as well, and I think they would be interested partners to join with the PDA in this as well. But we just want to get that design work done so we can get it submitted to the railroad and get through the the process of getting those approvals with the railroad.
Get those approvals done and stuff. It's also a major safety
It
issue.
is a major safety issue.
The large trucks. I think Great Western brings about 50 or 60 large semi-trucks into that down Craft Road every day, and so you're down and back. It's just,
And the railroad is really excited about it too, because those trucks, they have regular confrontations with the trucks and their bridges in that area as well. And so they're excited to help reduce that truck
perfect.
traffic.
Doing the things that it's supposed to be doing, so thank you very much. Councilmember Nichols.
Follow up on the old Hoku site. How is that presently zoned, and what type of businesses are you anticipating or hoping that would locate into that area?
So it's currently zoned industrial, and the owner of the property, Portneuf Development, is actually going through a site area plan with the city's brownfield grant program. And so the brownfield grant is helping them to develop an area-specific plan for that whole site. And but we anticipate it being open up to industrial-type uses, and we really need to capitalize on these industrial lands that we have. There's not a lot that we have available within the city. And so that's the hope with this plan, is to help us to identify that and lay out a strategic plan for that whole site to make it the most viable as possible.
With the overpass probably being really important to that
Yes.
overall goal.
Yeah, that overpass is key because right now the secondary access is really restricted, and it would provide especially emergency access, but also direct access to Highway 30, which is key to the development of that site.
Great, thank you.
Yeah,
Super. Any other questions? Brent, thank you.
thank you.
We'll move to agenda item 4, proposed February fiscal year 2025 budget amendments. Finance Department staff will be in attendance to present to the council detailed information on proposed fiscal year 2025 February budget amendment for the public hearing to be held on February 20, 2025. Morning, Gene.
Good morning, Council. Gene Hill, Finance Department. Let's pull this up. Just to start with, I always like to read this part, that notice is hereby given that the city will hold a public hearing, and I'm getting the wrong place here. Bear with me. Apologize. So each year, the city finds it necessary to amend the budgets to account for unanticipated grants or other situations. Although the city may have been awarded a grant, the council must still authorize the new expenditure in the budget. The budget amendment process is similar to that of the original budget. We publish a public notice twice in detail, hold a public hearing, and then adopt the amended budget. And this is the first amendment for the year. And I think we're trying to, normally we've done 3 budget amendments previously. We're trying to do just 2 to make it a little easier for everybody. Do one mid-year and then one towards the end of the year. And what I'd like to do is, please interrupt me or ask questions. If it's less than $50,000, unless you have a real interest in it, I'm really not gonna try to cover it at a higher level. So in the general fund this year, we set aside $350,000 to help the departments that did not have enough money in their budget to do the rebranding. And this money is from the excess interest earned, so it's not an impact to the taxpayers. So I just want to clarify that. If you have any questions, please again let me know. For the fire department, it's a total of about 1.5 million that you'll see through here that they're using Fund 78, but also from their deployments. They've taken 760,000, moved that from fiscal year 24 into this budget cycle. And there's 3 major things they're going to cover. One is they're buying a brush truck. 2, they're doing some repairs to the stairs and doing some remodel on their bathrooms, and what's?
It was a station remodel, the stairs were part of.
Okay. Thanks, Autumn. And then the other one was set aside for a new fire station or storage, and that's basically 1.5 million. And that covers the general fund pretty much.
I
Go
think
ahead,
if I
please.
might interrupt you, I think the money is set aside not for necessarily a new station, but a storage place to put all the equipment that we have that is outside so we can get it covered and protected, probably is what's happening. But they'll be looking to see if it makes sense. Statistics are showing us that we need to move a station, and if we can move a station and do the storage in the same location, that's what we would be looking at to do. But they need the money for the storage unit right now to be able to get that built. And
Thanks for
I think
clarifying.
fire and police both have a need for covering the equipment that's left out. Yeah, Brent?
Hi, Gene. I wanted to make sure I understood this Fund 78. So, because I noticed most of the fire items here are funded from 78. Do I understand that correctly, that let's say like in 2024, if the fire department had some savings on an item, that they could then put that in Fund 78 and use that in 25 for, say, these issues? Is that generally correct on how that works?
It's basically, if you will, a capital savings fund for
Okay.
the departments in the general fund so that they can set aside for each department. And I have an accounting of it if you'd like it.
No, I think that's okay.
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 So this then is money that we already have. It's just being held in the savings account of sorts for use later. Correct. Okay. Got it. Perfect. Thank you.
The next, get my eyes to work here. The next major one would be street, which is basically, and Tom can comment it, but they're taking, again, some excess money that was left over from fiscal year '24 and moving it ahead to put in a street light. And you can, on between us, South Valley and Bannock Highway. The next one is, major one is the transit has got a couple of buses that they ordered, both for the rural and the urban, that were ordered in '24 that they'll have to pay for this year. And that covers that. And then for sanitation, there's $700,000, which again is coming from money from last year to do the remodel on the
Recycle.
Recycle
center.
Recycle center, which is basically the office area, and then a little bit on the front, a little bit of a facade on the front. And then water is to purchase a valve truck that was ordered in '23, $288,000. Ambulance is to take basically deployment money and to use it to pay for operating and for salary expenses. Employment wellness, just using the funds, again, from Pacific Source for other health. I got that. Health Joy. Okay, thanks, Heather. And then the other major one is where water is basically taking money from Fund 60 and moving it into the Fund 38 to pay the debt service on their outstanding bond,
That's the wastewater.
1.6 million, and then moving some money from Fund 74 to Fund 32 for capital improvements this year. And that's really 7.1 million, 7.2 million for the year, or for this section. Most of that, like 3.2, 3.4 million of that is just really just moving money with wastewater into different funds so that they can attribute it.
So that's WPC, not water.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I'm awake today, you can tell.
So, and most of this, if you see this, most of this is the money we already have. It's just, the council has in the past said, look, we want to know, instead of just putting the money all in a thing so they can just spend it, the council wanted to know when it was being spent and they needed to have it moved over and stuff. So this was anticipated. Most of it was anticipated. It was just now moving that money into the line items and getting permission to spend it. And so it's what most of these are.
Any other questions?
Questions for Gene? I think it's pretty self-explanatory.
Thank you, council. Thank you, Mayor.
Yep, thank you. Thank you, Gene.
Mayor, we will be having a public hearing on this, right?
Absolutely. This public hearing will be on the 20th. It's scheduled for next week. So we'll have a public hearing on that, and then we'll go from there.
Yep.
Thank you.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then with that, we'll move to agenda item 5 is council advisory board updates. Who wants to start? Where did I start last time? Wasn't it Corey that started last time?
I mean, Corey's good to start again.
Let's do it. Let's do it then.
So, NeighborWorks Pocatello is still trucking along. I don't have a report for them. Haven't had a meeting recently. And then with the Housing Authority, or they've just got a new board member appointed. And so I think all the board seats will be filled this month. It's a complete turnaround in that organization. They're doing great work. They have a lot of vouchers that they've filled. And so they're really impacting the community and the homeless community, really trying to get people into homes. They have a landlord's luncheon every second Wednesday of every month where they're discussing tenant issues and rental issues and things like that. And they're talking about how HUD is helping landlords with properties and how the Housing Authority is able to help offset certain costs, and how they can take on properties and lease and rent those properties as management for private landlords here in town. They're looking at a development possibly here in the near future to help with some of these housing issues that we have for affordable housing. The Golf Advisory Committee, they just want a clubhouse. Other than that, that is my report.
Well, did you tell them we're getting a design of the clubhouse going? I mean, are they still mad at you? What's the?
They're always mad at me. I don't have answers.
Okay.
Or a magic wand. So
All right, sounds good. Councilmember Paulson.
Sika has a new chair, Amber Davis. The Christmas updates, it went really well with donations. Angels with Santa raised $30,000. 20,000 plus of that was for children for Christmas. $20,000 grant from Walmart. 11 families were adopted for gifts for Christmas. Around 800 socks were gifted for seniors. It should have just closed, but the 5th home under construction and the 6th sometime in February. The next 8 homes are for people who need down payment assistance. And Sika just did a survey with like 600 people, and the top response for the most need in Pocatello, well, Southeast Idaho, affordable housing, then mental health and counseling, then more jobs, then access to food, and then childcare. At the Child Care Advisory Board meeting, the Office of Emergency Management wants data on occupancy for child care centers. So they can add it to GIS. So if there's an emergency, you can, see how many children are where. Flu and norovirus is up. There's potentially some trainings for child care centers about challenging behaviors, dangerous situations, and potential Narcan training. Then Parks and Rec, there was the Prost presentation. generally, Pocatello is great with trails and open spaces, but the public really wants more connectivity. These are just some of my personal notes that I thought were the most important. Not most important, but most interesting. A lot of the trees in Pocatello are the same age, so having an arborist and a tree plan is smart for the city. The skate park will be starting soon, hopefully done in July. And the rec center, year over year after the renovation, is up 20% attendance. And that is it.
I like how you moved from Sika to childcare. Yeah,
What
great
was the order of the
transition, by the way. Brent,
Sure. Animal Shelter Advisory Board continued to discuss the spay and neuter ordinance, which I think for the most part they've put on hold. I think they met with the ordinance enforcement people and saw ordinance enforcement was pretty much overtaxed, and they didn't want to add to that burden, so they're exploring some other options. One of those would be putting together a spay and neuter voucher program, and it looks like one of the local nonprofits here may have about $40,000 that they could contribute towards vouchers for spay and neuter. Human Relations Advisory Committee, it was mostly discussion on they're developing a sort of a platform to get information and resources out to some of the less advantaged populations in the community. And there was also a lot of discussion about the community anxiety regarding the ICE and deportation and those type of issues. But there really weren't any action items. They're just working on their educational programs. And
they're pretty interested to know everything the city's doing, and they were really unaware of all of the things the city's been doing. And
Yeah,
so that was
exactly.
that was a pretty good meeting.
exactly, yeah.
It was good. Linda,
Well, mine should be short and sweet. You got an update from PDA, so I don't need to repeat that. But we also haven't met since last month. We're meeting next week, so there might be new stuff next month. Historic Downtown Pocatello has not met. We have a meeting coming up soon, but both December was canceled and then January was too. So Bannock Transportation and Planning had a meeting last week that I was not able to go to, so
did they tell you we
Mayor, I don't-
railroaded you into being the chair?
I already
you were
was,
gone?
but I had agreed to, they didn't.
No, we didn't do that to you.
But I had agreed to do it, to continue if they needed me, so is that happening?
No, that didn't happen.
Okay.
We had, the discussion was, but,
Okay.
well, she's not here. We probably shouldn't do that.
I was okay with it. I'd already told Maury that, but that's fine. And I guess you can update us on that one if you,
Bannock Transportation, most of the discussion, I mean, we've got our director there is retiring at the end of this year. We have some
think
interviews.
a little
for-
bit before
for
that.
I think that's right.
yeah.
I think before the end of the year, but we've got a couple interviews today. We've had a couple good applications come in, so they're going to do some interviews today for a new I guess executive director is what he is, and so we'll see how that goes. Maybe we'll have a new one coming in, and there'll be a transition time so that they can bring them up to speed. But that's a lot of most of the things that Bannock Transportation is worried about. There are a few other regulations that they're working with and working through, and then always watching the grants and things that are coming out that may or may not happen. And so, but things are going really, really good right now with Bannock Transportation.
And then my last one is Audit and Investment Committee, which I also was not able to attend, and that was last week or the week before. I can't remember. So I don't have a lot to
Okay,
offer.
all right. And then mine, I've got the Mayor's Youth Advisory Council, and they met this week. Those kids, I'll tell you what, the youth in our community, we're going to be okay in the future. I'll tell you that. We've got some great youth there. They're doing really, really good things. They've got some plans. They have a planned essential needs drive that will be coming up in, I was looking for Ann and she's not in here, April. And that essential needs drive will help a number of the food pantries and things around the community. And so they're working on that, and they're working on a few other things. They keep our little food pantries that we have filled, and they do a really good job at that. And they've got a good relationship with Grocery Outlet. Has always been very supportive of them, and so they've done a lot of really good out here at the food pantry we have in the parking lot here, and also the food pantry over at the rec center. And so they've been doing great things, and they're just going to keep doing it. So
I should make one comment about audit and investment. The audit part of it is on track, and we're finalizing the current audit, this last year, and then also catching up from being behind. So that's in good shape right now.
super. Okay, perfect. All right, council, thank you very much. Thanks for being here. This was a quick meeting, probably worth, deserved after last Thursday's long meeting. So thank you very much for being here today, and with that, we are adjourned.